What's going on, NFL fans? Welcome back to Touchdown Kingdom, the home of all the latest NFL news and content. It seems that every offseason, the quarterback carousel around the league goes round and round and round. This offseason, one of the most notable quarterbacks available is Derek Carr. Carr is on the wrong side of 30, sitting at 32 years old, and is currently making $40 million per year on the Raiders. The former second-round draft pick is coming off a 6-11 season, where he threw for just over 3,500 yards and 24 touchdowns, along with 14 interceptions. Those 14 interceptions are tied for the most in his career, throwing the same amount as the year prior. He finished the season with a passer rating of 86.3, his second lowest of his career. The only year that he had a lower passer rating was 2014, Carr's rookie season. The former Fresno State Bulldog is looking for a fresh start where he can prove himself with a more stable roster. If a trade for Carr is facilitated, a team would have to take on that contract to get a deal done before February 15th. That is a hard deadline for Las Vegas because once the 15th hits, Carr's $40.4 million salary is locked in. If no deal is done by then, the Raiders will most likely release him. It's also important to note that any trade for Carr would have to get approved by the man himself, since he has a no-trade clause in his contract. If I were to guess today, I would say no deal is done by February 15th and the Raiders release him, allowing Carr to sign wherever he chooses. Before we get off the runway, go ahead and drop in the comments what you think is the best landing spot for Derek Carr. After all is said and done, we can take a look and see who was right and who was wrong. With that being said, let's get right into it. To start it off, I see the New York Jets as a top landing spot for Derek Carr. This was a team that was 6-3 at one point during the season, but a mix of bad quarterback play, injuries, and other factors led to Gang Green finishing the season a disappointing 1-7 in their last 8 games. The Jets are most likely going to be one of the most aggressive teams in pursuing a quarterback, since they feel like they are one piece away. And who says they aren't? They had a top 3 defense this past season, along with an 1,100-yard rookie receiver in Garrett Wilson, and a running back who looked like a superstar until he got hurt at Breece Hall. The offensive line will be back at full strength as well, along with some reinforcements both through the draft and free agency. The con of this Jets team is that they don't have an offensive coordinator right now. If the Jets can get Carr in the building, though, then that locks up the biggest question mark for this team and becomes a much more attractive job for any prospective offensive coordinators. Carr has never had even a top 20 defense of his career, and he would give this team the veteran leadership and talent at the position that they missed the most this past season. There should be mutual interest, and the Jets should do what they can to get Carr under center next season. The Washington Commanders are another team that should absolutely be taking a look at Derek Carr. Washington finished 8-1 last season and just barely missed the playoffs. Washington hasn't had stable quarterback play since Kirk Cousins way back in 2017, and Carr would be the best quarterback this franchise has had since then. This is also a team that feels like they're a quarterback away from being a real competitive team. A fully rehabbed Chase Young in 2023 will cap off this defense that finished top 10 last season even without him. They're going to have to address the offensive line, though, as they gave up the 7th most sacks in the league last season. The biggest con of joining Washington is the instability at the top. Who knows what's going to happen with the ownership of the Commanders going forward, and I'm not sure if that's something Carr wants to deal with. Either way, Carr would be a really solid cherry on top for this Washington roster. Moving on, the Houston Texans are a team that nobody talks about for Derek Carr, and quite frankly, isn't a team that Carr would probably choose. He wants to win now and prove himself, but it makes so much sense for Houston to try and acquire Derek Carr. They missed out on the number 1 pick, meaning they most likely are missing out on Alabama quarterback Bryce Young. There is no doubt Houston still selects a quarterback at 2, but it won't be Bryce Young. Young is the most and arguably only pro-ready quarterback in this upcoming draft class. It wouldn't be smart to throw a rookie quarterback into the fire right away that isn't ready, because they'll probably crash and burn. So why not get Carr to start and have the Rook sit on the bench for a season? If Houston can nail the head coaching hire, this team is a lot closer to winning than most people think. Brandon Cooks will be okay with staying if Houston shows that they're coming to play next season, and you can try and bring some more receiver help in as well, whether it's through the draft, free agency, however they see fit. They have 2 all-pro talents at tackle in Laramie Tunsil and Titus Howard, which is something that most teams can't say. It's unlikely, but Carr would elevate this young team, and I believe would put them in a position to compete in the AFC South next season. The Carolina Panthers had a weird 2022 season. They started off the season 3-8 and traded away their best player in Christian McCaffrey at the deadline. They started the season with Baker Mayfield at quarterback, released him, and then turned to PJ Walker. Then they turned to a, I guess, rejuvenated Sam Darnold, who won 4 of his last 6 games that he started, and he almost made the playoffs. This team isn't too far away from competing, and they have a ton of young pieces on both sides of the ball. They have an aggressive pass rush with Brian Burns, and a secondary led by the underrated J.C. Horn. With above-average quarterback play, this could be a really good offense. The Panthers don't pick high enough in the draft to secure one of the top quarterback prospects, so they should take a look at a veteran, because why not? They also need to hire the right head coach, but Derek Carr should absolutely be on Carolina's radar. All signs point to Tom Brady leaving the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the offseason. Wherever he ends up going has yet to be seen, but that means Tampa needs a quarterback. I think you see where this is going. Derek Carr would be the perfect plug-and-play guy for the Bucs. The offensive line is going to be healthy next season, and this offense is ready to win now. They aren't young, and Tampa would be Derek Carr's shot to prove he can win the big games. It isn't a super competitive division, and he would have the weapons and defense to really put something together. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Leonard Fournette, what else can you really ask for as a quarterback? The Bucs have a stable front office and ownership. Just like half the league though, Tampa Bay is looking for an offensive coordinator. But no matter who it is, Carr should definitely be intrigued by the Bucs roster, and the Bucs should be intrigued by Carr as a Brady replacement that could step right in and keep this team competitive. Those are the top 5 best landing spots for Derek Carr. Go drop a comment letting me know what you think, and be sure to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe if you're new here. We appreciate all the support, and we'll see you next time.